with some introductions. Bjoern, should we start with yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Bjoern Koester. I'm the CEO and founder of Web Strategy. We are a solution and service provider. We have developed our own email marketing software. We are focusing mainly on B2B to C, which is a specialty and a niche. And during this talk, I guess I'm going to give a little bit of insights into that angle that we deal with on our everyday basis.
Anoop?
Hey guys, I'm Anoop. I'm responsible for product solutions, growth and expansion for Netcore in Europe. Netcore has multiple lines of products, right from ESP to helping brands with product discovery and also a marketing automation. I'll probably talk about few of the strategies that we do to sell to B2C, so B2B2C again.
I am Chryso Savva. I am the founder and CEO of Sterndy. Sterndy is short for Strategy on Demand, and we're a digital strategy consultancy, an agency, and we also have our own email creation platform that integrates with different ESPs and marketing automation platforms, such as Netcore as well. And I've been mainly talking about the element of the importance of innovation and the challenges that enterprises face nowadays when it comes to convincing buyers and selling to.
Oh, look at that. Setting us up already. I'm Riaz Kanani. I'm the founder of Radiate B2B. I've been in the marketing world too long, 30 years. And I will be chairing the panel. So let's get on and have a conversation, shall we? Let's start with that. You brought up challenges that you're facing today in your world. Why don't you kick us off, Chryso, and tell us what challenges you're seeing in enterprise marketing.
All right. So from the consultancy and agency side, we mainly work with leading enterprise organizations. So a few of the multinational organizations that we work with is Motorola Solutions, we work with Energizer, we work with Intelligent BlackBerry. And what we try to really understand is how do such organizations survive in today's world where innovation is one of the key pillars of driving success nowadays. Mm-hmm. So our role as an agency is to identify how do we make these companies adapt to where the industry is going and leverage the opportunities with our support by implementing them. Having said that, because we have the ability to both consult, analyze, and see the results, we then take it on board to our own platform. Because our platform is, again, a solution for enterprises. It's not a solution for individuals. And by understanding and applying different techniques and techniques on our consultancy side, we're then able to add that and apply that to our platform.
What do you see? What are the top 3 things that are problematic right now for you in the platform? Yeah, okay. So when you, yeah. So
we wanted to simplify the way marketeers create an email. Yeah. And reduce the time it takes an email. So companies nowadays, they spend weeks to build an email. It relates to creating that email, testing it, it doesn't work, output issues, attachment issues, like we said before. And we wanted to really make this a simple way. So we wanted to create something very complex and simplify it. So one of the issues we face is how do we make that user experience seamless so that anyone, without any coding and technical expertise, can get it. So that was one of the challenges. How do we translate a complex scenario into a really nice and simple UX and UI? But then we wanted to market to enterprises. It's not like convincing a person to, I don't know, buy a wearable or buy a chewing gum from the kiosk. You have to convince a decision maker to really consider a tech product to put it on the tech stack. Mm-hmm. So security comes into play and data compliance. So what we try to do is we try to ensure that we don't really gather any unnecessary data. We don't care about your star sign, so we don't ask your date of birth. We don't collect information that we're not really going to use it. And we don't really send the emails ourselves. We create the emails, so we try to make sure that we create something that procurement team will kind of decide to get it faster. Yep. And then obviously ensuring that the security is key.
Okay. Anoop?
Adding on to that, right? Again, we sell to brands that sell to customers, right?
Yeah.
The challenge that most of the customers have today is getting those shoppers by, right? they're all marketers. We all know the multiple stats that float around saying 70% of the customers don't shop if it's not personalized, 90% abandon the cart. So many stats, right? How do we ensure that we kind of deliver that experience to get that brand fall into that 30% of buying patterns, right? And there is where a lot of innovation comes into picture, and be it interactive emails, be it hyper-personalized content, all of them, getting them adapt to that particular thing would be a great challenge because most of them use legacy systems. The code is deeply integrated into their supply chain management and the rest of the places, and there is where the challenge is to convince these guys to get used to the new ways of getting shoppers by.
Okay. Bjoern?
Yeah, maybe you have seen my session yesterday. We are focusing more on the B2B to C side, and we don't really sell products. We don't need to meet them to buy our B2B partners to buy stuff. Instead, we are focusing on more like an retention view. It's more like how do you make the content good enough so that they are happy with the content and that they can deliver that content to their own consumers. And it's successful if the content that they deliver to their consumers gives a good feedback or gives a good visibility. And if it gives a good visibility, the business partner is happy. And so it's all about making the business partner happy. And you can only do this in a modern times if you don't give an information overload. So it's not like selling things, it's more like presenting things. So our challenge is to get rid of the information overload and create reliable communications and content that is working for the target group that the business partner has for his own business. So that is like a small shift in perspective. So you don't really have to deal with the business partner alone, but also with the target group. So it's a holistical approach, and that is nowadays really challenging. And what we often see is like many businesses are communicating, and they are sending updates and sending many emails, and so you don't really, can deal with that information overload anymore, and you sometimes just don't read those emails anymore. But instead, we try to make our emails that we send as rich from an informational point, and also as reliable as possible, so that they actually can't wait to receive an email. So we actually presented, and we talked about a case when someone didn't receive an email on time when they expected to get an email from us, that they actually thought like, "Did you remove us from your list? Please include me again."
A problem we'd all like.
So these are things that you definitely don't see in a normal buyer situation. So but these are the challenges in our everyday situations that we deal with content and delivering emails.
Yeah, I know from our conversations earlier, you know, a lot of your winning of business is through word of mouth, and how you build that relationship. I think what's really interesting is a lot of the old ways of winning business at scale are not working today because of the way the buyer is buying from us. And actually, your approach, even though, like when I talk to you about it, you're really humble and like, you know, this is what I do, and it's really all about building these relationships. It's just word of mouth, but like when you listen to what you're saying and actually talking about it in detail, it is exactly the way as marketing departments we have to be adapting to, even when we're selling to larger numbers, and that's the challenge today.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you talk about your Chryso, when you talk about your product, your email product, and you're going to market and trying to build pipeline, for example, how are you seeing sort of building on what I was just talking about with Bjoern, how are you seeing the prospect change in the way you're having to communicate with them or work or try and bring them into the pipeline?
Well, let me start by asking the crowd, how many of you know Strandi for email? Exactly. So that was one of our challenges. That's one of the challenges we face, is that we're an unknown brand. And we try to target enterprises. And enterprises, they need to really be reassured that why should we get your platform? So what we try to consider is, okay, how do we create that authority in the space while being unknown for the moment? And the way we approach this, we try to work out what kind of partnerships can we create. So we're an Oracle Alacqua partner. From the consultancy side, and we thought, okay, let's make our product in the Oracle marketplace. Let's convince our existing clients to use it. Let's get feedback about it, and then let's promote that feedback. So now we try to get to that word of mouth by that kind of ability to have Oracle local customers be able to get that platform. And then we expand it. So now we integrate with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Marketo, Parto, but we use still the Oracle authority, even though it doesn't relate to those other ESPs, to really create and convert those prospects. So that's on the convincing side. So the other side is, how do we get that awareness out? And I have to say, recently with all new platforms coming to play, you have to think, oh, should we be on TikTok? But we're an enterprise organization. Should we really use like Instagram? But if we use Instagram, what do we do? So it's that always we try to come up and be creative in our approach, but still being lean, because you cannot be on all channels. And if you are, you need to come with your own sort of like tone of voice. And so this is what personally as a founder I found challenging, is how do I select the right channels, and how does the team ensure that they do something that works? And like I said, Strandi is short for strategy on demand. We do different type of strategy, but the only strategy we don't do, it's hope strategy. We would never do something hoping it would work. So we always would put data and back it up. So everything we try, we have a 12 weeks approach. We review this, does this work or does this doesn't work? And that's how even we came up with our own email marketing newsletter. And having said that, I'm going to subscribe to yours, Bjoern. I'm actually beyond excitement, trying to see what type of value you bring to our customers, because we do find that convincing that one person to come and then getting something that's of value to them, whether they want to use our services or not, it's their way of then going and promoting it to their peers. And that's how we try to do our marketing as ways to create that word of mouth organically.
Anoop, I know with yourself, you think, I guess Netcore does have a large partner ecosystem. Do you think about that partner ecosystem at all? Is it something you cover?
Yeah, I think traditionally there were two channels of selling.
Mm-hmm.
One was sales generated and partner generated.
Yeah.
Now I'd say there are three parts of selling. One is a part of PLG that takes care of itself. No sales interactions. You get a CSM assigned. You try out. You experiment. We have multiple touch points with with the brand representative, be it an account manager or a customer success manager, who can help you with some basics of the platform and driving value, right? Netcore has different product lines, and I agree with Wendy when she spoke about product-led growth, that each product defines a specific strategy. For example, email API is a self-sustaining product, right? You don't need a lot of integrations. You can go through the PLG route. But let's say a marketing automation platform, which actually requires integrations with the web, with the app, cannot go through a PLG route. And that's where either a sales-led or a partner-led ecosystem would work. Mm-hmm. And again, people are looking to unify the entire stack. And I know you can't be everywhere. So you finding the right partners to help you create a win-win situation for them and also for you is a key. And that's where we try to integrate with as many partners as we can in the line where we are not there, but also completes the entire marketing stack to ensure that, we get some good share of email volume.
Yeah, yeah. You talked a bit about product-led growth there
Yes.
for one of the products, and then obviously combining with the other products. How do you get them to work together as a hybrid? Like you're talking about using it in a hybrid situation as well.
Yeah, again, it completely depends on the requirement, right? I think most of the marketers and product managers want to keep it separate.
Okay.
For to start with, let's say transactional emails is through a system which is not related to the marketing platform, right? And that's where the PLG thing works, because you can actually adopt it to a product and not combine it to another product that you have. The goal is to actually get everything to PLG, so that it's easier, and we've seen a lot of success stories, right? Again, I worked with a company called Freshworks before, right? Where I actually started learning about product-led growth. This was back in 3 years ago. That was when the freemium, the trial actually started, and it actually leads to a lot of good inbound, and you eliminate the entire a part of your sales function, right? Yeah, sales has to be there, but you try, work it out for 21 days. It works. You pay via card, get your CSM assigned, right? And then that acts as a loop to say, hey, I actually use this product. You can try this. And again, I don't think I've ever spoken to somebody at Canva. Right? I tried Canva. I don't think I've spoken to somebody at Zoom. So these are all examples of product-led growth, which we want to go, but with the complexity of the integrations, we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I bet you that if anyone from Zoom or Canva were in the room, they would like to have a sales guy have a conversation with you, if they could. But that's an issue in some ways when you are very heavily product-led growth. I want to go to Bjoern, because Bjoern, when you are talking to your audience, or your client's audience, in your case, you don't have direct contact, do you? It's a slightly different beast. Do you want to explain more on that in terms of how their go-to-market works for those companies?
So in the example with the Bundesliga, like we presented yesterday, you have media partners who themselves have their audiences in the world as fans on the screens. So whenever we communicate something to the media partners, they get something valuable and localized, like for instance highlight clips localized for their own country in their own language. And then they can distribute that to their own audiences, to their own reader or viewership. So they can use the content that we provide, basically. It's custom tailored, and it's really helpful, it's really successful. And it actually, there's no direct connection between in this case, the Bundesliga and the consumer. But of course there's a connection, because it's brand awareness. It will be published in the media. It will be visible. So there will be also feedback. So there is a connection, but there's no direct connection.
Talk to me a bit about how you think about because you use email communication a lot to talk to all these different.
Yeah.
Either it's the end media partner in Bundesliga's case, or it's a franchisee that obviously owns their business, but.
Another example for B2B2C from my standpoint is it's quite similar to the approach that we have with the Bundesliga, where you have a media partner in between. Is similar in franchising. If you think of like large franchising chains, they are multi-branch businesses or also franchise businesses, where you have like one company or one brand, and you have like multiple locations, or franchisees, that license rights for the name and for the products. So, and they have their own consumers in the end. So it's quite similar in an approach, where you have to cater the end consumer, and but you have someone in between. It's the businesses that are actually your business partners as well, and you have to give them valuable input, valuable information that they can give out to their own consumers. So you have your own brand visibility, all in sync, because you want to have the same branding, the same design, the same product names. So this is a quite similar setup.
Yeah, I was watching The Founder. I don't know if any of you have seen it on Netflix at the moment, and it really illustrates the challenges with dealing with franchisees. Okay, let's switch tack a little bit. and move across to, I think, the topic of the day a little bit in terms of artificial intelligence. Chryso, why don't we start with you? How are you using AI today inside the business for your own company's needs?
Okay. So we're a digital strategy consultancy, and because strategy is involved with what we do, we always try to, whatever we do, to have a reason behind it. We always challenge ourselves. What are we trying to achieve? If it's for a client, what does the client need to achieve? What are their objectives? And then collectively or individually, we try to find the best route. And we do that ourselves with our own processes. So every once in a month, we meet and then we discuss, what do we try to solve? How do we minimize the time for this? What takes us more time than it should? How we can make our own processes lean? So we look into identifying platforms that can help us get there. So we all know ChatGPT. We actually run, every 6 weeks, we do this thing called stretch and learn, whereas we stretch and somebody does something. And each of us has to explain how we used ChatGPT. But exactly how we used it to ensure that we create the right message. Or right now we're doing it from a research perspective. So we would ask ChatGPT, let's say, to list the top 20 competitors that have posted something on social media, and we want the name, the URL, and the last day that they posted something. And then we're getting onto a CSV. And we go through the whole process. And then our tech lead also goes and says, how did they use it? So we always try to identify what is the latest advancements and collectively learn from each other to resolve issues that we have in the business. That is for how do we operate as a consultancy. Now, the other element is from a platform perspective. We always need to be aware of what are the latest advancements out there. And is there elements that we need to bring into the platform? So, for example, one latest element that we introduce, it's within our email creation platform. You have the ability to upload an image and crop it, and we automatically make it image optimized. However, to ensure that it's image optimized, we trim down the quality. Sometimes you don't really, if there's like text involved, it comes across as pixelated. So we found this startup image AI sort of platform. Our tech lead is not here to explain that, but we introduced that in order to solve an issue that our clients sort of face. And now we're even building that as a bespoke solution to have as another sort of opportunity. And we use a couple other AI sort of APIs within our platforms to ensure that we do things faster and more efficient.
Are you using it in your marketing at all?
Well, I need to ask my marketing team what other platforms we tend to use. For our explainer videos right now, we do use a platform to help us automatically create different sort of videos from it.
Okay.
But having said that, on Monday, I'm going to be reviewing that and I'll come back to you how it works.
Anoop, are you, I'm guessing you're thinking a lot about AI within Netcore?
Yeah, two parts to it, right? One is how do we enable a lot of AI features to our customers, and how do we use AI within Netcore. The first part, I think we've started our AI journey to our customers, to brands that serve the customers about 5 years ago. Ever since, we've made very good progress, right from creating subject lines on their own based on behavior, send AI-based delivery to say when is the right time to deliver it to, let's say, Riaz, right? And Gen AI with search to say, hey, I'm going for a party tonight. What I really like, so give me some suggestions, right? And the search product automatically gives suggestions based on that. So it's all for customers. This is pretty mature, 5 years. But within Netcore, there are parts of the businesses that actually use AI. Again, this is not a unified product, but people tend to use it based on the department that they function. For example, let's say the prospecting team uses AI to understand the buyer's intent, right? I actually see some samples where we feed in information to say, hey, I'm actually going into a meeting with Riaz on this particular agenda. Give me some talking points, right? And because of all the content online, because of the data lake, we do get some talking points. Those are some hacks that we do. And of course, with video editing and AI-generated images for marketing purposes. So all of them are, I think, standard across all organizations.
Mm-hmm. Bjoern, do you
Yeah.
look at it? Yep.
Yeah, we actually, from the content side, we're actually dealing with content that was generated by ChatGPT, for instance, and we have to deal with it because we have to, if we get content, we have to curate it, we have to make a teaser text out of it. So sometimes we get ready-made content, so to speak, ready-made, ready-made by ChatGPT, but it contains a lot of marketing hogwash, and so we cannot really communicate that. So we have to actually go down and change that content. So it actually would have been easier to get the original input that this user put into ChatGPT, so we can create a good content instead that we have to change something that is already written in a bad way. So, but there's also one observation in our team. ChatGPT works really, really well if you have the necessity to condense text, to shorten text. For instance, you have long text. It really shortens the text beautifully and doesn't change anything from the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It really tries to keep the important contents. But the other way around, if you have short text and you want to expand it, it really creates new stuff. It creates new facts. So this is really dangerous. And many people do it. They only give in very little information. And then you have to take care, also from a brand side, if that text gets out, because you are the brand, you are the owner of the brand, and there are words in it or attributes in it that that are not correct, obviously, but you send it out. Yeah, that's a big mistake. That should never happen. So we have to be really careful. And because we're also not only a service provider, we're also a solution provider, we develop, and our development team uses AI for actually developing. So our development team is really happy to have an assistance for code, because also in code it really works well, because it's also one of the best applications in AI.
Thank you.
I want to share something on that because I misunderstood your question originally. So one of the latest things the marketing team actually has implemented with AI, for us to be able to convince a company that you can create a branded email, we need to showcase their brand in an email. And then before we used to do that by having them to request a demo, we would jump in, somebody would just go and up the colors and the images, and it takes time. But then convincing that person to jump on a demo, it takes time and money and energy and sleepless nights and all that jazz. So we tried to think, how can we bring a branded email, and we showcase that. We show the collaboration feature in front of them without us having to spend time. So what we've done is we've actually used a platform to extract from a domain the hex colors from a website, and then the logo in a PNG format. A lot of times that doesn't work, so we have also a virtual assistant that goes in, and the ones that don't work tries to identify the logo, and a strapline from their website, the title, a paragraph, and a call to action. And what we do is we scan all of them to ensure it has the right contrasting colors. We use then Google Sheets to have all of our prospecting information that we have, people that said that we're interested for your demo. And we take the domain, and then we used, there's a formula on Google Sheets, if anybody doesn't know about that you can reference a value within Google Sheets. And then the same way that you would type to ChatGPT, can you tell me this, and that? So we identify, we say, tell us if this company, organization, it's closer to either of these industries. So if you're in a specific industry, and then if you do webinar, etc., we pick which template to showcase to you. And then in this way, we automatically create emails that they're branded. We showcase them with you. So you can see the email, and you can even check it on your mobile. Is it responsive? Is it not responsive? Is it dark mode optimized? And if you're using Outlook, does the button really break? No, so let's chat. And that's the way we actually applied that with using AI. ChatGPT and Google Sheets.
Very cool. Very cool.
If I can add, because we're talking marketing to the enterprise, one of the cool things that we've implemented is you receive a lot of RFPs, right? And they're basically templates with hundreds of questions, and it's boring to fill them, but it's important. So that's where we've actually had a very good AI plugin developed, which actually can scroll through the database,
right.
get the right questions. Again, you need somebody to validate at this moment, but work in progress to at least get majority of the work done.
That reminds me of the Marketoonist cartoon, where you basically have an AI creating the RFP and then an AI filling out the RFP, and there's no humans needed at all to pick the solution. Let's open it up to the audience. Enterprise marketing is such a huge topic that we can look at it from lots of different frames. So how is there areas that you want to ask the panel that we go deeper in? Yep.
I have two questions basically. One to Anoop and the other one to Chryso, if I see.
Chryso.
Chryso, sorry. So for Chryso, like, what is your acquisition strategy for your company? How do you acquire? And on the same time, because I know probably there are so many digital consultancy services being provided, I think, throughout the globe now. And while, let's say, I would assume that while doing an acquisition, you would also stressing upon the unique selling point, how you guys are kind of different from the others. That's always, so yeah, if you can share your thoughts on that.
Okay.
And for Anoop, yeah, I see also in your, because I believe it's Netcore, I was just scrolling through the website, it is a platform and it has cloud, it has marketing automation and all these kind of things. But there are so many companies with these exact same capabilities. So what challenges you face and how do you even convince, because imagine if a company starts, they put that all the cloud structure, all the technical stack there. And can you maybe share some story? Have you managed to convince some, let's say, customer to go from X to Netcore, and these are the benefits? Maybe something in the past.
This is good.
My two questions.
Chryso, should start with you.
Okay. So the question is, how do we acquire? So how do we find more customers? Okay, starting with to answer your question, we are 8 years running company, and up to the last 9 months, I paid 0 cents on any paid marketing out there. So when we started, we were a marketing automation consultancy. And one of my personal skill set was Eloqua. 12 years ago, when I joined the first organization, they migrated from, I don't remember what it was back then, Constant Contact, to Oracle Eloqua. It was a very new tool, a very US-based kind of tool, and I got accredited. And then once I started, I managed to get 3 customers already that they had Eloqua, and the need for in Europe was, because it's a really unknown platform, very niche, it was easy to work with someone. And my background is computer science, but then my passion is within marketing. So I kind of bridged the gap of working with a solution and combining my geekiness with my business orientation. So to start with, I built clients from that sort of route. And it was all word of mouth. The client would leave one company, they would go to another and say, hey, Chryso, you want to come work with us? And we don't have a lot of clients, but we have retainers. For example, Blackboard, who has been acquired by Anthology. It's a 7.5 years running client. So we work month on month. We started with one division, then we expanded to another division, then we expanded to different product lines. So now we work for their global kind of operation with the extension of their marketing, automation, and demand generation team. And our sort of unique selling point is the optimization. We come up with how can we make something faster and more efficient. So for Anthology, for example, they do a lot of webinars per year. On average, especially after COVID, they do 20 per month. But when you have a webinar, you have to create your email, you have to do your follow-up, people who register, who didn't register. They even have to create an online link with the platform that they're using. So we built a platform that's internal for their team to be able to automatically create the webinar ID and then create automatically those emails. So there's actually now no human sort of error in a way to have those emails created, and it automatically goes into their marketing automation platform. So we do solutions like that, and we think, oh, we should apply that to another organization. What is the use case? We build something, it's bespoke. Let's go and introduce it elsewhere. So we always try to, our unique selling point is coming up with those automations that can enable teams to do what matters the most, that can enable them to have more time on the content rather than the development. And so yeah, whether it's us offering the strategy, our other goal is to help others have more time for that strategy by our sort of services.
So you're basically using your customers to win more customers.
Yes. Yeah.
That's PLG.
Yeah.
Anoop, do you want to answer?
Yeah. There are the multiple layers to the question that you asked. How do you crack into markets where there's a lot of competition, right? And also you do a lot of stuff. There's so many competition out there doing the same stuff. How do you get there? So again, the company started with one product, landed up with 2, 3, 4, 5. And to start off, when we started the first product back 25 years ago, that product actually picked up as in a mature state. It's a leader now. So for the first product, the word of mouth is actually helping us win more customers. What we've also identified is getting all the marketing stack together, right? Today, if you see competition, we have 6 product lines that actually integrate all with each other, helping product managers and marketing managers run the customer engagement in a single platform, right? Yeah, I'd say you need to find a sweet spot, right? Each market has different sweet spots, and if you are actually finding that sweet spots to understand what is that key thing that you want to go after in each market. And each sector, each market is completely different. For example, let's say Indonesia or Southeast Asia is an app-heavy market. LATAM is an app-heavy market. Europe, again, is an email-heavy market. So while you have so many products, finding that sweet spot of what do you land with makes a very important part of your GTM strategy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess it plays into the content mix, right? And then you're learning from your clients in those regions to then drive how your messaging is working in those markets. Is that...
Yeah, not just the messaging, but also what goes into building the product.
Okay,
right?
so yeah.
Again, I think I was sharing with Charlie, or I don't know, sharing with somebody where I said the Southeast Asian market demanded for a TikTok marketplace,
Okay.
right? And nobody else apart from Southeast Asia wanted it, but we still had to get it because the messaging in Southeast Asia was app heavy and we had to cater it. So the GTM and the product development is region specific, although we have a unified product, and it makes it even more difficult to cater to so many requests from different markets and also make it available globally. So the messaging and the GTM and the product alignment have to go bang on together.
Yeah, that's what I was taking away from a lot of what you've said today is your product and your marketing teams have to be really closely aligned. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
So all of you mentioned a lot about AI. You also mentioned how much work you have to put to make the AI actually work for you. So is the fact that you use AI an actual marketing strategy, so you can tick off the box, hey, we are AI-enabled company and so on, or is it actually useful? Can you measure the positive impact of AI on your operations, on your marketing, or whatever?
Again, we've measured the impact of AI on our customers. So that's something that that's something that's for sure. With internal teams, it all comes down to man hours. Again, in the last example that I've taken, RFP, it definitely reduced at least 80 hours of 80 man hours per quarter, I'd say. It's not a lot, but yeah. Not all of the AI features that we've implemented have results. But yeah, wherever possible, we try to quantify them.
Well, on our site, going back on the image editor, we use that AI. We convince companies to trial a platform, and we tell them we have this embedded image editor. But then we had to tell them, actually, if you want to upload your logo, you have to crop it. We will tell you the dimensions, or send it to us. We'll do it. That doesn't sound nice, right? It sounds like we're having a white lie on our website. So that for us means more customer support and more customer dissatisfaction, because you told me there's an image editor, but it works, but not from my logo, and that the logo is important. You cannot have a template. Everything looks great, is email optimized, no Outlook issues, no attachment issues, because you don't do attachment in email marketing templates, as a note. And then the logo seems pixelated, and people say this is not a great platform. So we measure it with the customer success. We fix that issue essentially, because we can happily share. You can use our image editor. Before, we just hiding it under the lines. It was not really like a selling point. On the example of using it to automatically pick hex colors. So before doing that, we still have a virtual assistant, but his role will be just to go and scan different companies, have this plugin, pick different hex colors, find the contrast. It takes a lot of time and also money. So if I were able to measure that, I decrease those unnecessary costs, and I also increase how fast I can have something. So I'll use it for our benefit, and that's my only measure. Basically, is the time and the money and the satisfaction.
I can give you a couple of answers, I think, around this. First, the industry-wide view. Most technology companies sell on innovation. Today, if you're in market and you're not mentioning AI, you're not innovative. So you don't have a choice. So there's an awful lot of AI crap out there. But there's enough there, I think, and certainly we've seen it, certainly some of the things we've heard here, right, that there's value there, you just got to discover it. And that leads to the second point, which is I explicitly tried to use AI, whether it was Claude AI, Bard, ChatGPT, Midjourney, those are the primary ones I was using to create my presentation this morning. I can comfortably say I took more images from unsplash.com than I did from the ones generated by Midjourney. I think I took 2 from Midjourney. And I wasted a hell of a lot of time trying to create those images. Now, maybe it's a learning process and you're having to learn how to prompt. I'm not yet convinced that's true. There's a lot of people saying that, but I think we are still a couple of generations away. And let's face it, if AI is going to succeed, it can't rely on us to jump through that steeper learning curve. It's going to have to improve on its own. When it came to generating the text and that side of things, it actually alarmed me how good it was. Like, especially in B2B, where it's really niche, and there's lots of different frames to it. It came up with a good number of those frames. The challenge with it was it wasn't coherent and didn't stick together very well. And this is where the problem lies for older users like myself who are ingrained in the way we work. I only did that at the end of the presentation after I'd already created it and then compared with what I created. It's a reminder to me in the future that I should do that first, because it would have saved me a whole load of time when I was spending thinking about the different angles I could be thinking about. I could have saved myself some time doing that. Any other questions? I think we've got time.
I'll share something on that end. I think also AI challenges companies to be able to move faster with things and be more agile. And I'll share an example. One of the things we come up and we say, what's kind of a nice idea? And we thought, let's create a subject line checker. You put your subject line, I'll tell you it's good, it's not good, maybe you should change it. You would select your tone of voice, all that great. We had the idea, we put the requirements in, we sent it to the UX designer, who is a contractor for us. And he came back with a design, we put it in the backlog. that took time, energy. We had the requirements there, so our project manager had to the product manager had to put all of those requirements in, and then ChatGPT came. So all of that. To be fair, we're going to still use it, but we're integrating it with ChatGPT, so we're getting that. But this whole thing and the energy that we had, and it was 9 months. It was one of the things that we're developing, let's say, 3 release cycles. So it all went to waste. And that kind of reminded us that if we have something, we'd be able to need to be also for ourselves more agile, and then have the open-mindedness to adapt. Otherwise, it can be quite costly.
Thank you. We're at time, though I don't see Nelly and Andrew anywhere. So does that mean we keep going, or do we start? I think we'll call it a day at this point. But thank you to all of you on the panel, and thank you to the audience for the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.